My name's Shane. I'm the chef here at Greensboro Country Club. Today I'm going to teach you how to break down a chicken. To begin with this 9th cut here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to remove the wishbone. The wishbone is right up in this cavity. It's opposite of the neck. And to do that, we're just going to take our knife. A paring knife is good, and you're just going to go and you're just going to rub it down the bone. You can stick your finger in there, really find out where that bone is. Do both sides. And once that's released, you're going to be able to feel in there. And you're going to feel that bone, and you can just come in and grab it. And I like to just go down one leg of the bone on each side, and then come back up and get the rest of that wishbone. It might break, you might have to go back in there and get it, that's normal. But here's our wishbone, and that's out. That's going to allow us to take more meat off and not leave a lot behind, so that's really important. So, okay, now that we got the wishbone removed, our breast can come off pretty easily. That's great. I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to take these wings off. By the way, a boning knife is a perfect knife for this job, but a nice utility knife always works well for me. As long as it's sharp, you're going to be good. So I made incisions around this wing here, and I'm just going to push it backwards, and it's going to release nice and cleanly. I got this little wing joint here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, come around very easily. Take your time if you don't do this a lot, so you don't cut a finger off. Alright, so I got my wings. Those are, my wing joints are still attached, my drumstick. And I got these two nice little guys here. I can cook these off and use them for a stock or a broth later. Or I can just put them in the freezer and have chicken wings. Next move, I'm going to take off some of this fat here. This isn't needed. If you're going to pan sear your chicken breast later, maybe you keep this fat, you can render it down and then fry your chicken in that, just so you're not wasting anything. If not, you can discard it. So I'm going to make an incision here. I'm coming down and I'm really separating the leg quarters. That's important. So flipping back over now that I made my cuts. Here, I'm going to go ahead and flip over. And another important thing is you want this chicken to have skin on it. It's really important so you don't have a dry chicken if you're pan roasting it or it has high heat. It'll retain a lot of that moisture. So now I'm going to remove a quarter. I'm coming up. I'm going close to the spine. I'm coming around, and I'm going to go down. It's important to trace that first. There's a very important piece in French cuisine, a little chicken oyster here. You make one incision, and it's easier to see when I'm done. Make one incision, and your thumb can push it out, and that is the oyster. It's a nice little piece of meat right on the end of that thigh. So I did that, I traced my line, I'm good. I'm going to push the leg quarter towards me. I have my finger on the spine here, and I'm just going to take my knife. It's already separated, boom, it comes right off. That's nice. Other side, come up, grab the oyster, skin looks good. I'm going to give it a little pop there. I'm also going to make that little incision. Here I go again, I'm getting that oyster. I didn't do as good of a job on this first one, but the second one I will. Come in here, thumb goes in, oyster comes out. Again, pop, you can see the little joint here. I'm going to come down, and my knife is just going to go. There's nothing there. There's no resistance. It's just going to walk right off the back end. There's my quarters. To further process these, I'm going to take the drumming off. There's a fat piece, a fat line that goes right through there. And I got that cut. Separated thigh. Same thing with the other one. Go right through there. And now my pieces are starting to take shape here. Now that I got the quarters off of this chicken, I'm going to flip it around, and we're going to expose these two breasts here. And the real cool thing about this 9th cut chicken, that's what they call this technique, is that you're going to have a piece, you're going to have 4 plates, you're going to have a piece of dark meat and a piece of white meat, and it's really cool for a family of 4. This chicken only cost me $6, and I can feed family of 4. Everybody gets a little white, everybody gets a little dark, so it's really cool. All right, this is the most important part of the separation here. in the middle, and you can trace this out. There's a lot of trace in here with the skin, just to make sure we have enough coverage when we get this thing broken down. You can see where that is in reference, your symmetrical line right down the middle. Once I have that, I'm going to find my joint here, my first joint, and I'm going to come in at a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to go parallel with that spine line. So now here I am. I'm making my cut. It's parallel with the spine there, and I'm just going all the way to the ribs. I'm going to find those. That's my guideline, and I'm going to start little cuts, all the way down the rib cage here. And this is really important in any kind of fabrication. Just use the first little inch or two of the knife. Don't get crazy. If you don't know where you're at, just make little incisions. Don't saw, just nice, and you'll find your way there. And as I get here to the bottom, I see a bone come out, and little incisions on the end of that bone exposes that first joint, and there's a knuckle there, and I'm going to make a cut right through there, and what we have is the first breast of our chicken, and we're going to clean that guy up, and he's going to look all pretty when we're done. Second side, same thing. I'm going to go in my 45-degree angle, come in towards the cavity, then I'm going to walk off. Nice little incisions. This works for duck. This works for goose. Any fowl. All the same structures. If you can do a chicken, you can do anything. So here I am again. There's a lot going on here, but if I move this, I can see my knuckle, and I can go right in between it, and I got my nice breast piece here, and that's the other piece. So that's two breasts. Now I got this thing. And these are our other two pieces of white meat, so this is cool. We're getting really close here. What I like to do is, there is a little section right here, and a bone coming up, and then that little piece of meat there, and I'm just going to go right through it. And you need a sharp knife. You're just going to go right through it, and it just comes right off. And there's two bones over here that I'm going to cut. And that releases the two pieces of white. Now what you got here, this is really great. This is for your stock or your sauce, or throw it in the freezer later. You can make your broths. And we have our white meat here. Looks nice. Our traced piece of skin, we thought about that earlier, so that's nice. It's there for us. Okay, next we're going to separate our last two pieces of white meat, and to do that we're going to come right through here, and we're going to be able to separate out our two pieces of white meat. There is a bone still in this. That's for a purpose. It's going to keep the meat more flavorful, and it's also going to make it cook evenly, and it's going to keep it more moist. In conclusion, that's our 9th cut poultry butcher cut, and this is the way to get dark and white meat for 4 people in the family and still has some extra trimmings.